Yeah, a very good afternoon to one and all. Here in today class, our topic is parts of the compilers. Parts of the compilers is the today's topic. And after understanding what the language processing system is, now we are going diving into a straight concept of the compilers. See, all of you see the slide that I shared here. A compiler can broadly be divided into two phases, or we can also call it as in two parts. Two parts based on the way they compile. Based on the way they compile. Here, what are the two parts are? One is an analysis part and the another one is an synthesis part. See here, we're having a structure for that. The compiler is can be broadly divided into two parts. One is an analysis. The first one is an analysis part, and the second one is an synthesis part. And now, going in detail about what the analysis part is and what the synthesis part is, here we're having a structure for that. See the structure. Once all of you see the structure here that I shared in the slide. Today concept is about the parts of compilers. Compiler can be broadly divided into two parts. One is an analysis part and the another one is an synthesis part. And this analysis part is again carried out in three subparts or subphases. Three subparts or subphases. We can call it as a phase or part, whatever it may be. No problem in making in spelling out what the phase and what the part it is. And the analysis part is carried out in three subparts. What are those three subparts? The first one is an lexical analysis, and the second one is an syntax analysis, and the third one is an semantic analysis. And what about this intermediate code generator? Intermediate code generator is also an part of the subpart of the analysis, and it is also an subpart of the synthesis. So here the intermediate code generator is acting as a mediator between the both analysis part and the synthesis part. Make a note that intermediate code generator generates an intermediate representation where it is acting as a mediator between the analysis part and the synthesis part. And briefly describing about what the analysis phase and what the synthesis phase, then we can learn in detail about what the lexical analysis is and syntax and intermediate code and then code optimization and finally code generation. See here. Analysis phase. Analysis phase. See here I'm having the front end in representing with a red red mark front end and another one is a back end. Here all of you see in the slide that we're having two ends, one is in front end and the another one is in back end, where it is in a red color format, front end and back end. And this analysis part is an front end of the compiler. Analysis part is an front end of the compiler. Make a note. And also this analysis part is an machine independent code. Machine independent code. This analysis part is an machine independent code. And what type of the tasks that the analysis phase is going to be performed? The analysis phase of the compiler reads the source program, and it divides it into some core parts, dividing the source program into some constituent pieces. We're calling here it is in some core parts. and then checks for lexical grammar and syntax errors. Then it checks for the lexical grammar and for the syntax errors, where these two are the subparts of the analysis. One is a lexical and the another one is a syntax. And what the analysis phase is going to be generate, the analysis phase generates an intermediate representation of the source program. See here, we are representing it with an intermediate code generation. What it means is, the analysis phase generates an intermediate representation of the source program, and along with the symbol table, which should be fed to the synthesis phase as an input. See, in the last classes, we already learned about the pre-processing technique. We know what the definition of the pre-processing technique. Here we're implementing that pre-processing technique. After performing the lexical analysis and getting an output and taking that output as an input to the syntax analysis, and that syntax is generating some output, and that output is taking as an input to the semantic analysis, and that semantic is generating some output, and that semantic is generating some output, and then that is taking as an input to the intermediate code generator. And after performing the intermediate code generator, then finally we're getting some intermediate code representation from the intermediate code generator, and that output is taking as an input to the synthesis phase. That output is taking the output from the analysis is taking as an input to the synthesis phase. So this can be calling as an pre-processing technique. Here we're performing pre-processing technique, and then by taking the output of the intermediate code generator, and now the subphases of the synthesis are code optimization and code generation. Now these two are going to be carried out by taking the input from the intermediate code generator, where it is generating some output. That output is acting as an input to the code optimization, and we're applying some code optimization techniques, and we're generating the output, and that output is taking as an input to the code generation, and finally we're generating the machine level code by applying some code generation algorithms. So this is the process that is carried out between the two phases, analysis and the synthesis, where these two comes under the parts of the compilers. Make a note that what are the parts of the compilers. We're having two parts of compilers. One is an analysis and another one is an synthesis. And how the analysis part is subdivided into, or how the analysis part is carried out with three subphases. One is lexical, and the another one is on syntax, and the another one is on semantic. And now coming to the synthesis part or synthesis phase, and what the task that the synthesis phase is going to be performed. This is known as the backend of the compiler. Why? Because it is a machine dependent code. All of you make a note. Analysis is a machine independent code. Synthesis is a machine dependent code. Analysis is known as a front end of the compilers. Synthesis is known as the back end of the compilers. Make a note of all these things. And what type of a task that we're going to perform by using this synthesis phase? Synthesis phase generates the target program, where target program is nothing but an machine level code, machine level language. Synthesis phase generates the target program with the help of intermediate source code representation and symbol table. See, when we're talking about the task or what the analysis part performs, what type of a task that the analysis part performs, and what type of a task that the synthesis part performs. When you're talking about these two things, here in the both things we are we are representing a word that symbol table. We're representing a word that symbol table, and whatever we are going to generate in each and every level, in each and every phase, that input, that the total process should be stored in a symbol table. The total process should be stored in a symbol table. So symbol table is acting as a data structure for the both analysis part and the synthesis part. This is also make a note. You can make note for this. You all should make a note for this symbol table. Symbol table is a data structure where we are representing the symbol table in both the analysis part and the synthesis part, both analysis and synthesis parts. And here, after performing the task of the synthesis part, and During this process, if certain code has to be optimized, for efficient execution, then the required code is optimized. Here, optimization also plays a main role, because by doing the optimization, we can generate the target code in an efficient manner. And once we generate the target code in an efficient manner, and what the constraints that we have to take is, one is an time constraint and the other one is an space constraint. And by improving the time and by improving the space, then automatically we can generate the efficiency of the target code. And now this is the brief description about the two parts of compilers. One is an analysis and the another one is a synthesis. And what task that the analysis is going to be performed, and what task that the synthesis is performed, and how the analysis part is subdivided into, and how the synthesis part is subdivided into. And overall, we are having 6 phases of the compilers, but in between we're having intermediate code generator. This intermediate code generator is acting as a mediator between the analysis and the synthesis parts. And analysis is only carrying out between the 3 phases, and synthesis is only carrying out between the 2 phases. In between, the intermediate code representation is going to be generated. So this is the brief description about what the analysis and what the synthesis, and how the analysis part is divided and how the synthesis part is divided. And now we are going in detail. Learning about the subphases of these two parts. See, before learning the subphases of, in detail, brief description about the subphases of the two parts, analysis and the synthesis, let us see how the analysis versus synthesis parts are. Analysis versus synthesis phase. Just all of you see the slide here I shared to you. Analysis part and the synthesis part. In the last slide, I already told to you that I already explained about analysis is in front end of the compiler and synthesis is in back end of the compiler. Here also, here also we mentioned that. And what the the analysis part can be divided into some following phases, and the synthesis part can be divided into some following phases. If you see the phases here, the lexical analysis, syntax analysis, semantic analysis, and intermediate code generation, where we're making it is an optional for the analysis part. And by seeing in the same thing in the synthesis part, see here intermediate code generator. In the both two parts, we are making a phase that where we are writing the intermediate code generator in the both parts, one in analysis and another in an synthesis part. Why? Because as already explained that it is acting as a mediator between the two parts, analysis and the synthesis. So from the output, from the intermediate representation only, we are taking that as an input to the synthesis. Make a note that whatever we are generating in an intermediate code generator, that is taking as an input to the synthesis part to implement the remaining two phases. One is an code optimization and the other one is an code generation. So this is about analysis versus synthesis. First, initially defining what the analysis part is and what the synthesis part is, and giving it an examples in the sense, the synthesis part and the analysis parts can be divided into some following phases. What those phases are, here we defined those phases. Once see the slide all of you and make a note of this about analysis versus synthesis. Both are the parts of the compilers, not the phases. Parts, PRTS, parts of the compilers. Explain about the parts of the compilers, then you can go with these two parts, analysis and the synthesis. And briefly describing about analysis and briefly describing about synthesis. Then itself it is completed. The topic is completed about parts of compilers. And now we are going to learn about the brief description about the subphases of each and every path. Here we're having only two parts, the subphases of analysis part and the subphases of synthesis part. See, analysis path is having three main subphases. Synthesis part is having two main subphases. In the analysis part, the first subphase is, the first phase is lexical analysis. Lexical analysis. Here I am only briefly describing about what the internal functionality of the lexical analysis and all these phases, about all these phases. And in detail, we are going to learn in the concept of various phases of compilers. There, where by taking an example, we clearly understand how the each and every phase is going to be performed and what type of an output that is going to be generated. And finally, by giving the input program, how the output in the machine level language is going to be executed. And here I'm just briefing out what the lexical is, what the syntax is, what the semantic is, and what the intermediate code generator is, and what the code optimization, and finally what the code generation is. And the first phase in an analysis part, that is an lexical analysis. Here lexical analysis can be called as a scanner or linear analysis. Why? Because we're calling it as a scanner. Whenever we're taking an input in the form of a source program and taking the input in the form of a source program in a high level language, first what we have to do is we have to scan the source program. Scanning the source program can be implemented in a lexical analysis. And after scanning the source program, it is read and then it is broken into some stream of strings. You all know what the word string is. Broken up into some stream of strings. Such strings are called as an tokens. Such strings are called as an tokens. Here tokens are nothing but the collection of characters having some meaning. Collection of characters, or we can also be defined as a sequence of characters having a collective meaning, that we are calling it as an token. And that is about the lexical analysis. In lexical analysis, what we are doing, I'm just briefing out each and every phase. In lexical analysis, just we are scanning the input program and broken up the input into some stream of strings. That strings we're calling them as an tokens. That's it. That's it. There we are generating some stream of tokens in an lexical analysis. That is an output from the lexical analysis. And now that output is taking as an input to the syntax analysis. That output is taking as an input to the syntax analysis. And now what we are doing in a syntax analysis phase, in this phase, the tokens, whatever the tokens that were already generated by performing the lexical analysis, and we are taking those tokens as an input here to perform a syntax analysis. By taking these tokens, what we are doing is we are arranging them in a hierarchical structure, and you are all are familiar with generating the derivation trees by using context-free grammars. By taking the input in the form of a context-free grammars, you all can generate an derivation trees. You know how the structure is, hierarchical structure, tree structure, and in that manner we are arranging the tokens in a hierarchical structure. By arranging it in a hierarchical structure, what it means is ultimately helps in finding the syntax of the source string. Ultimately helps in finding the syntax of the source string. And this is about a syntax analysis. And after performing the syntax analysis, what type of an output we are generating? The output in the form of an hierarchical structure. Now this hierarchical structure is taking as an input to the semantic analysis. And what the semantic analysis will do, semantic analysis will check it out. The meaning of the source string is determined. Whatever we generated in a syntax analysis, that is checked by the semantic analysis, checking out of the meaning, whether everything is in correct format or not, whether it may be a type checking, type conversion, or anything else. And by using this semantic analysis, checking out the meaning of the source string is to be determined. And these are the main three subphases in an analysis part that we are going to perform. And in all these analysis steps, the meaning of every source string should be an unique. You all should make a note that. For example, by taking an input program, I am implementing the lexical analysis and I'm generating some output. But the meaning of after performing the lexical analysis, the meaning of the program should not be changed. And after performing the syntax analysis, the meaning of the program should not be changed. After performing semantic analysis, the meaning of the program should not be changed. Make a note of all this. Should not change the meaning of the code. Without changing the meaning of the code, we should perform all these phases. This is nothing but a process of compilation, how the process of compilation is going to be carried out. And hence, actions in lexical, syntax, and semantic analysis are uniquely defined for a given language. And after carrying out the synthesis phase, the program gets executed. After carrying out of the synthesis phase, the programs get executed. See, in analysis part, I performed 3 phases: lexical. You all get to understand by what the lexical analysis, what the syntax, and what the semantic. Then what about the intermediate code generator? Then what about the intermediate code generator? What we are going to generate here, and what type of task that this phase is going to be performed. Here, storing the code in an temporary storage representation is going to be performed in an intermediate code generator. So the output that the intermediate code generator is going to be generate is an intermediate representation of the code. Intermediate representation of the code, in the sense it is an storing in an temporary variable, storing with an temporary variables, storing the code with an temporary variables, lines of code with an temporary variables. That is the output that we are generating from the intermediate code generation. And this is acting, the output of ICG is acting as an input to the synthesis, where the synthesis part is carried out in 2 subphases like code optimization and code generation. And after taking the input from the ICG is nothing but an intermediate code generator. After taking the input from the intermediate code generator, and now I am performing, or I am applying the optimization techniques, and I am performing the code optimization, and finally I am generating an optimized code. Finally I am generating and means I am generating an output in the form of an optimized code. That optimized code, what the mean of optimization, what the mean of optimized code is, here I'm improving the efficiency of the code by minimizing the lines of the code. Improving the efficiency by minimizing the lines of the code. Automatically, by applying the optimization techniques, I'm improving the efficiency by minimizing the lines without changing the meaning of the code. That is what I am going to be generated in code optimization. And now I'm taking that optimized code as an input to the code generation, and now I am performing some generation algorithms to the code, and then finally I'm generating a machine level language. Finally I'm generating an object code that is a target code of the given input program. And this is the brief description of each and every phase. Here we're having 6 phases of the compilers, and that 6 phases are divided into 2 parts. One is an analysis and another one is an synthesis. I think you all are clear about this, what is in front end and what is in back end, and which comes under a machine independent code and which comes under a machine dependent code, and what are the parts of the compilers, and briefly knowing about what the analysis part is and what the synthesis part is, and also how the subphases are going to be carried out in each and every part. Functionality, internal functionality, brief internal functionality of subphases in analysis and synthesis part. And this is about the concept of parts of compilers. This is about the concept of parts of compilers. And we're having the another concept, a small topic that is properties of compilers. Properties of compilers. And what are the properties of the compilers are? And you all should make a note of, I'm explaining what the properties of the compilers are. All of you should make a note of this. The first property of the compiler is the compiler itself must be an bug free. You all know what the bug free, error free compilers. We always encourage an error free compilers. Error free can be naming as an bug free. The compiler itself must be an bug free. And whatever the code that we are generating by using the compilers must be an machine code. It should be an correct machine code. It must generate correct machine code. And the next one is an After generating the machine code, correct machine code, the generated machine code must run fast. And this is another property of the compilers. And up to now, I explained three properties. One is itself, it should be bug free, and the another one is it should generate and correct machine code, and the next one is, and the third one is, and whatever the machine code that we are going to generate, it should be, the code must run fast. And the next one is and it is the most important property, that the compilers must be portable. Compilers must be portable. Portable in the sense should support everything. Supportable or not. Supportable. We can call it as an supportable compilers. And the compilers must be portable. And the next one, next thing, next property of this compilers is whatever the errors that we are that the compiler, after performing the compilation, whatever the error messages that we are getting in the form of some warnings, those errors should be good errors. Those errors should be good error messages. The compilers must give good error messages. This is the next important property. And the generated code must work well. Whatever the code that we are going to generate, it should be work well, and with the existing debugging tools. And the final thing, most important thing with the code optimization, that is the compilers must have consistent optimization. Compilers must have consistent optimization. These are some of the properties of the compiler. Make a note of all these. Again, I'm recalling those. The first one is an compiler itself should be bug free. And the second one, the compiler should generate and correct machine code. And the third one is whatever the code that the compilers generate, that should run faster. And the next one is every compiler must be portable and should be supportable compilers, and it must give the good error messages, and the generated code must work well with the existing debuggers, and finally it must have consistent optimization. These are some of the properties of the compilers, most important properties of the compilers. You all should make a note of this. And this is about the topic of the properties of compiler. And today's topic, it was already completed, the parts of the compiler, analysis and the synthesis parts. Yeah, this is the concept for the next class. Phases of the compilers, various phases of the compilers, how the process of compilation is going to be carried out. How the process of compilation is going to be carried out by seeing the various phases of the compilers. By in detail knowing about each and every phase and with an example, then we can clearly understand the various phases of the compilers, how the process of compilation is going to be carried out. This is the concept for the next class. Yeah, in today's session, I delivered the topic analysis versus synthesis. That means the parts of the compilers. For the next class, various phases of the compilers. For the next class, I'm going to deliver about the various phases of the compilers. And get ready about the topic of various phases of compilers for the next class.